Here we have a math problem on real numbers. Okay, let's go with the question. Write whether every positive integer can be of the form 4q positive 2, where q is an integer. Justify your answer. Okay, now we have to verify whether every positive integer can be written in this form of 4q positive 2. In this expression, q is an integer. Q is an integer means like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So in this way we can take these integer values for q, that is negative integers, positive integers, and 0 for q over here. Okay, now let me consider a negative value for q. Okay, on the number line to the left side of 0, the first negative integer is -1. So let me consider this as a -1 for q over here. So when I plug in -1 for q over here, then I'm getting 4 times -1 positive 2, that is equal to 4 times -1 is a -4 positive 2. I'm getting -2, that is when I combine -4 and positive 2. But the question says whether every positive integer can be of the form 4q positive 2. That means this expression 4q positive 2 must be a positive integer. But when I plug in the first negative integer, that is -1 for q, I am getting a negative value for this 4q positive 2. So we cannot consider the negative integer -1 for q. Okay, what about the other negative integers for q? That is -2 or -3. For example, if I take -2, the integer -2 for q over here, what will happen? So that is 4 times -2, that is -8 positive 2, that is equal to -6. Again, I am getting a negative value for this expression. What about -3? Even if I take -3 for q, 4 times -3 is -12. Positive 2 equals to -10. Okay, anyways, so for all the negative integer values, I am getting a negative value for this 4q positive 2. That's not possible because the question says every positive integer can be of the form. So it has to be a positive integer. Okay, so now we can reject the negative integer values for q. But the question says q is an integer. That's why I considered the negative integer values for q. Now let's consider 0 for q. When I plug in q equals to 0, what is the value of this 4q positive 2? Then we have to plug in 0 for q over here. That is 4 times 0 positive 2 equals to 4 times 0 is 0, 0 positive 2 equals to 2. Okay, when I plug in q equals to 0, I am getting a positive integer value for this 4q positive 2, that is 2. Now let's consider the next integer value of q, that is positive 1. Okay, let me take q equals to 1. In that case, I am getting 4 times 1 positive 2 equals to 4 times 1 is 4 positive 2, that is equal to 6. Okay, now let's take the next integer value, that is next positive integer value for q, that is q equals to 2. Then we get 4 times 2 positive 2 equals to 4 times 2 is 8, 8 positive 2 equals to 10. Okay, let me take the next positive integer for q, that is 3. When I take q equals to 3, then we get 4 times 3 positive 2 equals to 4 times 3 is 12 positive 2 equals to 14. Okay, when I plug in q is equal to 4 and q equals to 5, so then I'll be getting some integer positive integer value for this one greater than 14. So when I plug in the integer values for q, that is integer means like 0, 1, 2, 3. So negative values we cannot take for q because it creates a negative integer value for this one, but it has to be a positive integer. Okay, anyways, so when we plug in the value 0, 1, 2, 3 for q, so for 4q positive 2, we are getting these values, so 2, 6, 10, 4. So that is only these particular positive integer values 2, 6, 10, 14 can be written in the form 4q positive 2. Not every positive integer can be written in the form 4q positive 2. So the answer for this question is we cannot write every positive integer can be of the form 4q positive 2.